Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lent podcast where we are continuing looking at Jesus and the unlikely.
Yes, and right off the bat, Shona, it's time to see how well you have been listening to this podcast as we've been making it.
Oh gosh.
12 days ago, we shared our favourite things about trees. Do you remember something that I said was one of my favourite things about trees?
Was it climbing?
It was. I said that I quite like climbing trees. And today, we have a little throwback because that comes up in our story today. Shona, will you read us the story about Zacchaeus in the Bible?
I can. This is from Luke chapter 19 and it's verses 1 to 6. Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region and he had become very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. "Zacchaeus," he said, "quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today." Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy.
Amazing. Thanks, Shona. So, why did Zacchaeus climb a tree? Well, Jesus has come to town and he wants to see Jesus. Zacchaeus, we're told, is too short to be able to see Jesus through the crowds. Now, the thing is, if you're in a crowd and you're too short, what you might try and do is get to the front of the crowd. But the thing is, obviously, the people weren't letting him through. The other people who were there did not want him to be able to get through to see Jesus. So he had to find another way and he had to climb a tree. So the fact he climbed a tree means that we know people did not want Zacchaeus around. And the thing is, he was not a popular person. We're told that he was the chief tax collector in the region. And as Shona told us a couple of days ago, tax collectors were not popular. People thought they were greedy, people thought that they cheated. And actually, we find out later on in this story that Zacchaeus was greedy and he did cheat people and he did take more money than he was meant to from people. And so people didn't like him and he kind of deserved it. He didn't deserve the way that they treated him, but he kind of had done things that were bad, and so it made sense that they weren't his biggest fans. Most people thought that he'd messed up and he was beyond repair. But Jesus doesn't just see him as a tax collector. Jesus knows him by name. Jesus calls him by name and says, "Zacchaeus." He doesn't say, "Oi, you, chief tax collector, I want to have a word." He says, "Zacchaeus, come down. I want to come to your house. I want to be a guest." And this is another reminder for us that Jesus doesn't look at us and think, well, you've made too many mistakes, you've done too many things wrong, I don't want anything to do with you. He doesn't just see you as a student at school. He doesn't just see you as whatever it is that you do for a job. He sees you as you. He calls you by name. He knows you by name. It's a really good thought, isn't it?
That's a really good thought.
And I wonder if there's anyone listening to this who feels as though they've made too many mistakes and that God couldn't possibly be interested in them anymore. I've definitely sometimes felt like that in my own life when I've made mistakes. But when I look at a story of someone like Zacchaeus, who nobody wanted around, I can remember that Jesus wanted him around. I find it so encouraging to know that it is never the case that we've made too many mistakes and that Jesus has given up on us. And I hope you find that encouraging as well. So I want you to have a think about this question. Why do you think Jesus was willing to give him another chance when nobody else was? That's my question for you to think about today.
Great question, Dave. Thank you so much for that. And you will be hearing from us tomorrow for our 21st episode.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.
See you later.